Okay, we'll go right into Mark Hopkins.
Well, thank you and welcome. You know, I understand you're about to graduate from high school, and I remember a long, long time ago when I graduated from high school, and I think it's a credit that you're sitting here because when I graduated from high school, I don't think I was so excited to be out of high school. I don't think I could have sat here listening to something about as weird and as unusual as talking about energy and especially energy efficiency, you know. So, you know, energy efficiency, it's like, it's not even energy. It's not, in fact, it's not energy. It's not using energy. That's a pretty abstract concept. But, you know, in the United States, we use a lot of energy. And of course, it's a big country. Probably some of you have been there. It's a very big country. And I bet, you know, we have many energy sources. We have nuclear. That's the one people hear a lot about. And of course, coal. And that's, you know, everybody knows that that's a lot of pollution and carbon dioxide that's causing global climate change. And we use natural gas. And a lot of people still in the rural areas heat their homes with wood. And then, of course, some renewable energy. Most of it, frankly, we've been using, it's not new, it's hydro dams producing electricity. And during the 1930s and the Depression, we built a lot of big dams. And, you know, one of the reasons we did that at that time was it was the Depression, and we wanted to put a lot of people to work. And if you build a big dam, you put a lot of people to work. And that sort of relates to some of what I'm going to talk about today, which is, once again, like we did in the 1930s in Franklin Roosevelt, the New Deal, we're developing a new Green Deal to put Americans back to work in this time of financial difficulty. And the idea is not just to put them back to work, because, of course, you could give somebody a shovel and put them out on the street, or a broom and tell them to sweep up the street and give them money, and that would put them to work, and they'd be able to pay their bill. But that isn't a very good investment in the future, although a lot of cities could probably use some sweeping up. So part of President Obama's plan is to try to use this economic problem that we have, which is very severe, to try to use it to invest in the future. And he has a vision of that future, and not just him, but a lot of leading thinkers. You know, I bet you, I've named various energy sources, and of course there's solar energy and there's wind and whatever. What energy source do you think in the United States is the biggest single energy supply resource? Energy efficiency. You believe that? I bet people would say, in the United States, oh, they waste all this energy. Well, about in 1973, if there were trend lines in how the economy grew and how much energy grew. And of course, the first oil embargo happened, and the United States began on a process, it went up and down, of deploying energy efficiency. of developing new technologies. For instance, a refrigerator today that you buy uses one quarter of the energy per cubic foot of refrigerator as it did in 1973. Refrigerators are much, much more efficient. The average gas heating system in 1973 had an overall efficiency of about 68%. Now we have gas heating systems that are 96%. And the same with all kinds of technologies. Lighting, air conditioning. Wide range of technologies have now been deployed. If we hadn't done that, we would use about 50% more energy than we do today in the United States. And when you calculate that difference, energy efficiency is the largest energy supply resource currently in the United States. That idea, though, contrasts to perception. I don't think I've ever been before an audience where they said, oh, energy efficiency, that's the biggest. Very, very few. And it certainly contrasts with the overall policy. We were actually able to accomplish that with a relatively mild policy approach, meaning, yeah, some tax credits, some utilities had some programs. Most of that time, the Department of Energy for renewable energy and energy efficiency only spent $2 billion a year in a budget, an overall budget, government budget of a couple $1 trillion a year. So it was a very modest investment. But we were able to accomplish that much. And during that time, there is a great deal of research done on this. At places we have national laboratories, Lawrence Berkeley Lab, which our speaker, another speaker is well acquainted with, and Oak Ridge National Lab, and many others. And study after study after study came out saying we really should focus on energy efficiency. It's the cheapest, quickest, cleanest energy resource we have. And even though we've accomplished a lot, we're probably still wasting somewhere around 35% of our energy because we have not deployed all the energy efficient technologies in our homes and offices and factories. And we can likely do that at less cost than producing new power. The International Energy Agency last year came out with a study, and they looked, everybody knows, I'm sure you've all followed the issue of global climate change. How we have to reduce the amount of carbon emissions into the atmosphere to deal with this. Between now and 2030, the International Energy Agency says that almost 60% of those reductions are going to come from energy efficiency. If you're a business and you sell something into a marketplace and you have a 60% market share,